Beverly Kincaid, CEO and consultant at Sound Grants Proposal Research and Development, is with us today from the state of Washington. Hello, Beverly.
Good afternoon.
It's really great to see you. It's good to meet you. This is our first time meeting, was today.
Yep.
And you came up for the GPA conference. Is this your first one?
No, I've been to many.
Okay.
All over the country.
I'm really fascinated with your career and what you've managed to accomplish and what motivates you. But to get us started, can you tell us what you're doing now? What's your practice all about now?
What my practice is about now is primarily project development, program development, prospect research, proposal writing, and also teaching grant writing classes, in addition to working currently with our local community foundation on strategic planning and capacity building for nonprofits.
Wow, that's a handful. So you're kind of doing it all.
Yeah.
And do you find your clients readily accepting the idea of strategic planning?
What I've found with the organizations I work with is that oftentimes it's a foreign concept to them. When you say strategic planning, it sort of scares them to death. And so I sometimes don't say the strategic word, I just say planning process or working for the future, and then they're able to delve into it and with some comfort level.
Could you explain why is planning so important as opposed to just going through the database, finding the prospects that have money and just sending out applications?
You know what I like? I have a very simple quote for that, and I tell this to the organizations I work with. I ask them, who said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there? Do you know the answer?
No.
The Wizard of Oz.
Is that right?
And so, when I kind of break the ice with that, then they start buying into the planning process and beginning to understand how, as part of their planning, they need to begin determining what the outcomes are they want to achieve. They need to be able to validate the need. The funders these days are not interested in funding good intentions, only projects that meet a particular need, not just somebody's good ideas. So,
and that need, that would be within the community, not necessarily within the organization.
Correct. Always within the community, but more importantly within the target population that the organization is working with.
Okay. So your practice is good, it's well-rounded, but you're also still finding time for involvement in organizations like the GPA, and I know there's a regional association.
Yes.
Tell me about your work at GPA. And
we have, I'm not sure how many members now, but several hundred, if not 1,000 or more members in GPA. I was the 125th member, so
wow.
I've been on board since nearly the beginning, and unfortunately living on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, it's a little challenging to participate, on committees and to be actively involved. So I try to help at conferences, doing grant reviews, and that sort of thing to maintain my active involvement. But also I use the resources that GPA has to offer, and they continue to grow that resource base for the membership, which I really admire about the organization. In the Puget Sound region, we have the Puget Sound Grant Writers Association. That's based in Seattle. I helped develop an arm of Puget Sound Grant Writers Association called South Sound Grant Writers, which is in the South Puget Sound area, closer to where I live. And that has been extremely successful at grew in just a few short years from a group of 5 of us having brown bag lunches to 50 or 60 grant professionals coming together with programs and well-known speakers and that sort of thing, and all part of professional development, and also bringing funders in to talk about their processes and ways of working with organizations. I have helped with starting a regional or county area development officers group, which has just begun, and interestingly its growth is equally phenomenal and is attracting very well-known speakers from the Puget Sound area.
So you're a magnet for success.
So I've never been called a magnet before, but
that's a good thing.
I guess I am.
Okay.
So
hey, I also understand that you actively mentor.
I do.
Younger people as they're coming up.
Yes.
Tell me about that. And by the way, when I say younger, do you find also, if you comment on this also, younger isn't necessarily age. Don't we find a lot of people now who are having a second career or a...
That's correct. Yeah. My means of mentoring, and I do not do pro bono grant writing. I do when an organization is struggling with their grants process or other aspects of their nonprofit operation. I will do pro bono strategic planning from time to time. I also, through my grant writing classes, do an additional piece after the conclusion of the class. Within 3 months of taking the class, my students have access to me for a post-course consultation, either to review a proposal that they've written or to ask about some other aspect of grant writing or nonprofit development. And then I meet with them person to person or talk to them on the phone. Interestingly enough, I found that many of those individuals who took the course were looking for a career change. And so they want to talk about, how do I get started as a grant writing consultant, and can you give me some tips? And so how can I take the skills I have, and which skills do I have that are transferable skills to the grant writing profession? Those are exciting experiences to see people take what they have, what they already know, and look at it and use it in a different way. And in these challenging economic times, there are lots of great technical writers out there. There are a lot of teachers who have been laid off. There are any number of different occupations where they can take those skills and actually become a grant writer, if that's the path they choose to take. And for many, it's a good home-based.
Yeah, that's interesting that you see people transitioning almost as a matter of necessity, coming out of a career that's maybe a sunset on them. It wasn't that many years ago when we found people coming who were already 40, 50, 60 years of age coming into the grants field because they felt like having a second altruistic career, driven by altruism, not necessarily making a living.
And actually that is somewhat what drove me in this direction. I worked in healthcare, I worked in workforce development in the community college, and I worked for the largest nonprofit in Western Washington, largest human services nonprofit in Western Washington, as their regional grants manager for about 6 years. And I found, it truly was my passion, but working for one organization was not. And spending all that time on the highway was not. And so working from home with a variety of clients was clearly the path that I wanted to take, and see what I could do in my own community or surrounding communities to help make them better places to live.
Wow. And as you look back over your career, is there any particular real high, bright, shining moment that comes to mind?
Well, as I look back on my career, I find that using the emerging best practices in my local community has actually been the shining moments where, you know, for example, Housing First is a relative, well, it's not really a new initiative, but it's new in our area, and getting people, families, high needs families or domestic violence survivors into permanent housing instead of making them jump through all the hoops of shelters and transitional housing and those sorts of things, and working with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with this particular project, you know, has been a real high point, both to introducing the concept to my community and watching it grow and watching it succeed, having very strong outcomes, and now working with another agency doing a similar project with high needs populations with addictions has been probably some of the most rewarding experiences I've had.
Fascinating. You know, you had expressed to me in a conversation earlier today, you have a theory about the connection between the health of a community, and I'll use health as my word, not yours, I'll let you state it the right way here, but a connection between the strength of the nonprofit sector and the health of the community. Tell me about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is it doesn't matter whether the nonprofit provides arts and culture, educational enrichment, human services, environmental. We're big on environmental in the state of Washington. No matter what those nonprofits provide, if they're successful in providing those services and being able to attract the resources they need to meet their mission, the whole community is more livable, more sustainable, and a better place on the earth for all of us.
Inspiring talking to you. You're a wonderful role model, and I know you're helping your community and other grant professionals so much over the years, and thank you for that. Thank you for spending time with us.
Oh, I appreciated the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for watching.